Hi everyone and welcome to class. So the video today is about the final prompt and the final consultation that we have to do. So obviously it's April the 8th and it's day 32. And it looks like we've been doing doing online stuff for a third of the semester already according to the count. So that's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, so what's coming up in the video today? So in the video we'll do all the upcoming assignments. We're going to go over those. The new prompt, some final consultations, the pass-fail grade and how that affects you, and what is coming up next. So, what is coming up next, really quick for the assignments. See, on this slide, you can see all the different assignments that are listed for the rest of the semester. And, we are in the final stretch. And so everything that we're doing now is going to build up to a final project, which you'll turn in on April the 28th. So we start off with the Holmes reading response, which you should have already turned in, and then tonight you'll be turning in the Gale reading response, and then the JSTOR reading response tomorrow, and on Friday I want the final consultation to be turned in. We'll be discussing the final consultation in more detail in just a moment. And then on Monday we have the research cards to do, and I'll be making a video about how to deal with those research cards, especially since we're supposed to be doing social distancing and not going to the store to buy things. So if you can get to the store to buy things, that's nice, but those of you who are like, no, I'm not going to go to the store, I have a solution for you. I used to do this solution all the time. So, double entry journal, that's coming up, annotated bibliography, the front matter outline, rear matter outline, complete draft, rough draft, self-review, and revised rough draft, and then the final essay and the final reflection. So all of these assignments, except for the final consultation and the final reflection, build up on each other. And they are, some of them, well, you're familiar with all of them. You know how difficult they are. You've done all of these type of assignments before. There is some new terminology, and it's the normal terminology. I'm not going to be focusing on the Greek language anymore. You guys, well, the Greek and Latin language, you guys are familiar enough with that. It's time to move on to how we actually use this in regular usage. So, keep in mind, like I said, none of it's difficult. Now, the final reflection and the final consultation, those are actually very easy assignments. For some of you, they will be easier than for others, and the reason being is that reflects the amount of work you've done, and we'll be discussing that in just a few minutes. So I do want to go over in detail what is in the final prompt. That way everyone is very clear, and no one is going to be able to say they weren't informed. So the final prompt, first paragraph. In the previous paper, we began to explore how research works. We will continue to do so with this paper. You noticed when I described your assignments, I emphasized the usage of keywords. I'm sure you noticed that, the keywords. For those of you who emailed me all the time, I emphasize keywords constantly. Keywords are words or phrases that focus research by grouping discovered materials together by subject matter. The class textbook, Emerging Contemporary Readings for Writers, helps do this by supplying tags. A tag and a keyword are essentially the same thing. So when you are doing research and you come across someone who says tags instead of keywords, it's the same thing. Just one is kind of a buzzword for the modern era, whereas keyword is the more traditional term. It's the one I'm used to. Yes, it means I'm old, but I definitely know what a tag is too, because I have coded quite a few web pages. And so I know how to insert tags and stuff like that into the metadata in a file. So tags is another word for keyword, and it's used in SEO, database management, and search engine algorithms. Dr. Barrios, the principal editor for Emerging, lists a series of tags for each essay included in our textbook. Here, let me show you real quick. Where did I put that textbook? Here it is. I put it on the floor. So, in this textbook, if you go to the table of contents, okay, if you go to the table of contents, you can see where they are listing tags and connections. This is going to help later, and I'll show you how. But the tags are keywords. So if you go over here to the Holmes essay, which is right here, see, here's the Holmes essay. When you're looking at the Holmes essay, they're going to list a number of tags, okay? And the Coates essay does the same thing. So if you go over here to Ta-Nehisi Coates, right there in the table of contents, you can see there are tags as well. So for the essay variety show by Anna Holmes that we are reading for this last module, Dr. Barrio lists the following tags on page 217. So 217 in the book. So we scroll, we thumb through, ridiculous. We thumb through the book and we find right here, and Dr. Barrios right there lists the tags right there, as well as the connections and some biographical information about Anna Holmes. So the tags or keywords that Dr. Barrios listed were civil rights, culture, identity, media, race and ethnicity, and social change. So those keywords can help you guide your reading and seeing connection between the different essays that are in this book also. These are designed and placed there to help guide you in your research when you're trying to find things. So in the next paragraph of the prompt, just to keep reading it, Dr. Barrios did the same thing for all the other essays in the textbook. For example, he listed the following tags on page 92 for Ta-Nehisi Coates' essay From Between the World and Me: Adolescence and Adulthood, Civil Rights, Education, Law and Justice, and Race and Ethnicity. Knowing how keywords and tags work helps researchers build connections between different texts. According to Dr. Barrios, the tags civil rights and race and ethnicity connect these Coates connect the essays by Coates and Holmes together. So the final prompt continued. Combined with a working thesis or research question, keywords and tags will help guide your research. In previous essays, basic research ideas and questions were given to you. They were either supplied by my boss, Dr. Hinshaw, or I gave them to you. In this essay, it's not the case. I will not be suggesting anything to you other than the following 3 points. First, you will write a 6.5 to 7 page, 6-part academic essay that is based on the ideas found in the essay Variety Show by Anna Holmes, found in pages 217 to 221 of Emerging Contemporary Readings for Writers, edited by Barclay Barrios. For inspiration, please read the essay's back material found on pages 220 through 221. These 2 pages include many suggestions for research that can guide you. So I'm going to show you those real quick. So if you thumb back to the rear material right here, that's in the book. If you look over here, they have different things where they say assignments for writings. If you read those, you can see there are a number of questions listed, especially over here in different areas. So questions for connecting, and then there are all these different ideas that you can look at. So what you need to, so right here, one instruction that it gives you as a recommendation that might work is write a paper in which you describe the processes through which words change or lose meaning, using Holmes' discussion of diversity as support. Is it possible for us to change the meaning of diversity again? What would need to happen for that to occur? See, that's a possible research idea. You can choose from some of these to say, hey, I'm going to follow some of the suggested ideas that are here in the back of the book, or you can decide, I'm going to go in my own direction and do something different. There are lots of different options available to you here. Okay, number 2. From the essay Variety Show, pick at least 2 keywords and a research question or working thesis to guide your research. This essay is not like your previous assignments where you focused on a primary text and dedicated half of your essay space to exploring the primary text. In this assignment, you are required to choose a central quote that matches your keyword and research question, and to then pick 2 or 3 other quotes from the essay that support this quote. These 3 or 4 quotes will form the bones for your review of literature section, the narratio, that will tightly define your subject. From outside research, you will find 5 to 7 pieces of evidence that support your review of literature. You are required to use 2 academic essays to support your keyword and working thesis or research question. One of these essays must be found through the GAL database and the other must be found through JSTOR. You will find you will also find 3 other sources that will help build context and backstory for your essay. All of your research work will be buttressed by the work you will do through reading responses, an annotated bibliography, research cards, and a double entry journal, and 3 outlines. So here's the last paragraph of the prompt. This essay is more yours to shape, showcasing more what you are interested in discussing in the context of Anna Holmes' Essay Variety Show. Basically, this essay is designed to show what you have learned over the last year of college writing. If you would like to integrate some of the ideas from your teacher from last semester, I'm very open to the idea, but please talk to me about it so we can integrate those ideas smoothly. And I am not too worried about this because the faculty and GTAs at FAU are quite professional, very good, and have helped create the very fine writers you have become. And honestly, all of you guys have become much better writers. For those of you who I had last semester, your writing has improved massively. Congratulations, all of you have. And so now that you've finished your freshman year, you're going to go into your sophomore year, you're going to need to be able to continue to improve your writing to the point where by the time you graduate from college, your writing will be on par with the professionals who are out there working in your various fields. Writing is the primary way we communicate. The point of this essay is to basically showcase the work that you have done and the skills that you have accrued over the last 2 semesters. So, there we go. Easy peasy, right? It's worth 200 points, and it's a huge chunk of your grade. If you do not turn it in, you cannot pass the class. I mean, that's the absolute truth. So you have to turn it in. You have to turn something in. So, final consultations. The final consultation requires that you plan the rest of your semester. I need to know what you're going to do. For those of you who've done all the assignments thus far, this will be a really easy assignment because you're just going to be like, well, I'm going to keep doing what I'm already doing. I'm just going to turn in everything. But those of you who are behind, you need to be clear with what you want to do. The final deadline for the final paper is delayed 1 day to April 28th, which is a Tuesday. And I did that just to give a little extra room to you guys. I honestly can't delay it any further because then it starts to interfere with my schedule and what I have to do. And so, yeah. But the final day to turn everything else in is May the 7th, except for this final consultation. The final consultation is due on the 27th. The last day you could do it is the 27th. That's when the grace period ends. So make sure that you get this in beforehand. Regarding everything else, though, the May 7th, today is April 8th. That's a month. That's a month away. You have 1 month with which to get everything done. Essentially, there are 3 categories that everyone in this class fits into regarding this assignment. Those who have not turned in all the essays, those who have not turned in all the assignments, and those who have turned in everything and are basically on time. You will need to respond to this assignment differently depending on what you still need to do. The specifics are in the prompt. So, regarding the pass-fail, if all you want in this class is a C, if you're satisfied with that, then turn in all the essays and make sure to earn a C on each of them. You'll pass the class. That's a C. If you want an A, pretty much do everything. If you want something in between, you need to decide the level of work you need to do to pull your grade up. You need to decide what you can do. All of your other classes are going to be putting the pinch on everything too, so it's going to be kind of rough, because I know your math and physics courses, they're not going to take the foot off the pedal at all. So this final month is going to be hard, and for those of you who are working during, the spring break crisis of 2020, then it's going to be really hard, because I know some of you guys, your jobs have asked you to work extra hours. They're going like, well, you're not in college now. You can do whatever you need whenever you need. Okay. Yeah. And so I know that. But most importantly, I want you to know that I need to know what you're planning to do. Basically, I need to know what you're planning to do. Every person will be graded differently on this assignment. There is no single rubric for everyone. Everyone is done differently on this. And this is done because it has to replace it has to replace what we normally would have done in face-to-face interviews at the end of the semester. So that's why we're doing it this way. So, like I said, those of you who've done everything, you only need to write a few sentences. But those of you who have a lot to do and want to do it, I need to see the plan. I need to see detail. You need to be specific. Those of you who've turned everything in and you're still only getting a C, then you need to start talking to me about extra credit. Because there is loads of extra credit opportunities. You need to choose to do it. Now, I do want everyone to pass the class. I want you guys to get, everyone who can, to get an A. When we did the live session on Friday, I talked about that. The way I've set up the PassFail system, if you pretty much do everything and you've follow the instructions properly, then you're probably going to get an A in the class. I really want that, because I don't think it's fair that I just can't do the PassFail with those of you who want it. Okay. And then, for what am I going to be doing? Now that I've pretty much put all the assignments online, what am I going to be doing next? Well, of course, I'm going to catch up on the grading. I'm going to do my own homework and studies. And I am going to finish the grading. Now, those of you who are going like, well, Aaron, you're not doing your grading, I want to let you know, I look at the grades every single day. I look at the progress you're making every single day. So those of you who are turning things in on time, I know. Those of you who are late, I know. But I'm being really forgiving. So you need to get stuff done. But like I said, May 7th. Get that crap in by May 7th. In opening all the assignments up right now, and they're all open. Those of you who want to get ahead, you can get ahead. You can start charging ahead. You can basically say, all right, I'm going to finish my English class in the next 2 weeks. You could do it, or the next week and a half, whatever. You could totally do it. I'm confident that most of you could actually do that. That's why I did it, so that you could focus on your physics and your math classes, your chem classes, the classes that are, in my opinion, intellectually more difficult than this, though some of them don't require as much work. English is supposed to be a difficult class by the volume of labor you put into the course. So, but the reason for the work is to make you good writers. Anyway, so the next video. I wanted to let you know a little bit about this. I'll be discussing something called jungle research. Jungle research is a term I invented. It is my own terminology, so don't think somebody else is going to know what it is. Jungle research is related to something people do called jungle camping and freeganism. Jungle camping is basically being homeless as a protest against capitalism. Freeganism is deliberately dumpster diving for food. People who jungle camp and who are freegans are typically rich kids who are living like homeless people as a protest against capitalism in the United States. And it's really popular here in the West, but I do know a couple people who are freegans at FAU too. I think it's particularly kind of dangerous. But like I said, I know quite a few people who do this. They're idiots. I mean, honestly. However, jungle research is how a poor person, typically a single parent like I was, because I was a single parent. I raised all my kids all by my own. I didn't have anyone to help. So it's like for how a poor person with 2 jobs and 3 kids researches. It works. I've only ever gotten A's on my research classes, and using this technique, it works great. I found out teachers loved it because it turns out some of the stuff I did was creative, bizarre, strange, and yet it all worked because the research applied. It just takes creativity and the willingness to take risks. And it works. Like I said, I've only gotten A's using this technique, so I'll show you how to do it. And the reason I'm teaching you this is because we're all locked up. We're all locked in our houses. We can't get out. So this is really important. Okay, so what was in this video? We discussed all the upcoming assignments, the new prompt, final consultations, PassFail, and what is coming up next. I think most of you guys are doing fantastic. Good luck in all your classes. Stay clean, wash your hands, and all the important stuff. And thanks so much for watching. You guys have a very pleasant day. Bye.